Have you ever felt like something big is happening right under our noses, but you can't quite put your finger on it? It's not the kind of conflict you see on the news with tanks and soldiers. This is a different kind of war. A silent war fought not on battlefields, but in boardrooms, on computer networks, and in the minds of people all over the world. This is the story of the defining rivalry of the 21st century, the undeclared high-stakes competition between the United States and China. Forget everything you think you know about global power. The game has changed. For decades, the United States was the undisputed leader of the world. Its military, its economy, and its culture set the standard. But while America was focused elsewhere, another power was quietly rising. China, with its ancient history and massive population, has transformed itself from a developing nation into an economic titan in just a few short decades. And now, these two giants are locked in a complex struggle for dominance. This isn't a simple story of good versus evil. It's a clash of systems, of values, and of visions for the future. On one side, you have the American model: democracy, free markets, and individual liberty. On the other, China's state-led capitalism, prioritizing collective progress and national stability under the firm guidance of the Communist Party. They are competing for everything. For resources, for technological superiority, for influence over other nations, and for the right to write the rules of the New World Order. Let's start with the most visible battlefield: technology. This is the heart of the modern conflict. Think about the device you're watching this on right now. The chips inside, the software that runs it, the network it connects to, all of it is part of this silent war. The race for 5G, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and semiconductors is not just about creating faster phones or smarter gadgets. It's about controlling the infrastructure of the future. The United States has long been the home of innovation, with Silicon Valley giants like Google, Apple, and Microsoft leading the charge. But China is catching up and fast. That's why you see headlines about banning Huawei's 5G equipment or scrutinizing apps like TikTok. Washington fears losing its technological edge, which has been a cornerstone of its global power for nearly a century. China, on the other hand, sees these moves as an attempt to stifle its rightful rise. They call it tech containment. For them, achieving technological self-sufficiency isn't just an economic goal. It's a matter of national security and pride. They are pouring billions into research and development, aiming to break their dependence on American technology and become the world's new innovation hub. This tech rivalry is a digital Cold War, creating a digital Iron Curtain that could split the internet and the global tech ecosystem in two. Next, let's talk about money. The economic battlefield is where this competition gets really intense. For years, the US and China were intertwined in a relationship sometimes called Chimerica. China made everything, and America bought everything. It seemed like a win-win, but that relationship has soured. The US accuses China of unfair trade practices, currency manipulation, intellectual property theft on a massive scale, and subsidizing its own companies to outcompete others. These tensions boiled over into a full-blown trade war, with both sides imposing billions of dollars in tariffs on each other's goods. This economic conflict isn't just about tariffs. It's about supply chains. The pandemic showed us just how dependent the world is on Chinese manufacturing. From medical supplies to electronics, made in China is everywhere. Now, the US and its allies are trying to de-risk or decouple from China, moving critical production back home or to other friendly countries. It's a monumental task, like trying to unscramble an egg. Meanwhile, China is expanding its economic influence through its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. It's a modern-day Silk Road, a massive network of infrastructure project ports, railways and pipelines stretching across Asia, Africa, and Europe. China says it's about shared prosperity and connectivity, but critics in the West see it as a form of debt trap diplomacy, where China lends huge sums of money to developing countries, gaining strategic leverage when they can't pay it back. Through this initiative, China is building a new economic sphere of influence, one where the US dollar and Western institutions are no longer the only game in town. China is also championing its currency, the yuan, as an alternative to the dollar, chipping away at one of the main pillars of American global power. Beyond tech and trade, there's a battle for hearts and minds. This is the information war. Both countries are trying to shape the global narrative, to tell their story and promote their worldview. The U.S. promotes democracy and human rights, criticizing China's record on issues like Hong Kong and the treatment of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. These are fundamental clashes of values. China, in response, pushes back hard. It uses its state-controlled media, its diplomats, and its vast social media presence to counter what it sees as Western propaganda. They portray the U.S. as a declining power, plagued by political division, racial injustice, and inequality. They promote their own model as a more efficient and stable alternative for developing nations. This information war is fought on platforms like this one, on Twitter, and in the news media of countries all around the world. It's a battle of ideas, where each side tries to win allies and persuade the global public that its vision for the future is the better one. Finally, we can't ignore the military dimension. While a direct, hot war between the U.S. and China remains unlikely, the consequences would be catastrophic for everyone. The military posturing is impossible to miss. The South China Sea has become a major flashpoint. China claims almost the entire sea as its own, building artificial islands and militarizing them, despite international rulings against it. The U.S. Navy conducts freedom of navigation operations, sailing its warships through these contested waters to challenge China's claims and assert the right to free passage.
If the U.S. and China are already
and then there's
war,
Taiwan,
why hasn't
the
it turned
democratic
violent?
island that China
Because both
considers a
sides
breakaway
understand.
province. Beijing has vowed to unify with Taiwan by force if necessary. The United States has a long-standing policy of strategic ambiguity, not explicitly saying whether it would defend Taiwan, but providing the island with the means to defend itself. This is perhaps the most dangerous flashpoint on the planet, where a miscalculation by either side could spiral into a devastating conflict. China's military is growing rapidly, developing advanced missiles, a modern navy, and space capabilities designed specifically to counter American military power in the Pacific. The Pentagon is now reorienting its entire strategy to focus on this pacing challenge from China. So where does this all lead? The silent war is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a generational struggle that will shape the world our children and grandchildren inherit. It's unlikely to have a clear winner or loser like past wars. Instead, we are likely entering a new era of bipolarity, a world with two competing superpowers, each with its own sphere of influence, its own technological ecosystem, and its own set of rules. This rivalry will force every other country to make difficult choices. Do they align with Washington
The war
or
of the
Beijing?
future is already
Or do they
here.
try to navigate a path between the two giants? For us as individuals, it means the world is becoming more complex and less certain. The products we buy, the apps we use, the news we consume, all of it will be influenced by this great power competition. Understanding this silent war is crucial. It's the hidden context behind so many of the headlines we see every day. It's not just about politics or economics. It's about the future of freedom, technology, and the global order itself. This isn't a story happening in some faraway land. It's happening right now, all around us, in the invisible currents of power that shape our modern world, and the outcome remains unwritten. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this exploration insightful, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that unpacks the complex forces shaping our world.